Greetings of the day, dear students and listeners. My name is Mukhriddin. I am the lecturer of the international tourism subject. Especially this subject gives for the second course of students who is studying nowadays in the tourism, economics and tourism faculty in the direction of hotel management. And the topic name is factors influencing to the development of international tourism. One of the second topic. It's important one topic because before the starting every lecture we always learn the purposes and the main aims and the main functions of the subject. After the first one, this is the second one. It's important to know before starting and before the understanding the what is the tourism industry, what kind of factors could affect for their development and their enhancement, not only the globally or international, the locally and regionally. For that, here we can analyze 5 factors and also one additional ones. It's dependent on the situation in the touristic area or the touristic region, and every factor is important before starting tourism business and before to understanding the consumer perceptions and everything. And now firstly I have to introduce the references which I used during the creating the presentation for the auditory. The first one is Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report 2019. Here we can see the more than 140 countries tourism competitiveness index, which was analyzed and counted by the World Economic Forum. Also the book was published by World Economic Forum, and ordinarily every year that kind of competitive index will be published. For example, you can find the index in 2015, 16 and 17, 18 and other and so on. And if you want to find the new one, 2020 report 2020, you have to check the internet or web page of World Economic Forum in 2021 around the first quarter of the year. And the second reference is international reference is that the influence of social, political, natural and cultural factors on international tourism growth. A cross-country panel analysis. This is one of the best article which I was read about that topic, about that related topic. And here the 3 authors, Omar Joshi and Larson and Podial, they are from the different universities and they are the researchers. They get together and they started to learn, create the new programs about the learning the different countries, and they analyze cross-country panel analyze about the tourism factors which are nowadays are impacting for the development. You can see here their Harsh index is so high. It means it's a reliable and important article related to the topic. And now let's start. This is the main keys in the subject, the main factors influencing the growth of the tourism. This graphs was gathered by the article. Let's start from the first one. This is the environmental factors, socio-economic factors. Sometimes the scientists try to give these factors into sub factors. So the first one, social factors and economical factors, and they are differentiate both of them, but in this article 3 authors they gathered and they say they are the one factor. And third one, historical and cultural factors. It's so important to the development of tourism industry, especially cultural tourism. We have to rely on, we have to understand what is a history and what is a culture and what kind of types we can find in the touristic area on the destination. Or let's say sometimes we can say that the Bukhoro is one of the old city and all Islamic civilization center in the Islamic world because of its history, because of its cultural factors. And the last one is religious factors. Nowadays everyone has its own religion, especially in the three main religions are dominating in the world nowadays: Islamic world, Christianic world, and Buddhism, or sometimes we say Hinduism, sometimes we call it like that. And every place and every religion has their seventh or their saint places. People always try to visit that place for pureness, for their inner peace and others. And other factors, it's depend on the situation of the country and their location. For example, after the developing tourism industry or the technology enhancement, nowadays people want to go to the space, and they really like to make some travels to the moon or to the other planets nowadays, and they are also creating some commercialized spatial spaces, and they are launching it to the space. They are sending their pictures and other things with it, and also it's one of the type of the tourism, but the main factor is the technology enhancement, or we can find many type of them. Now we start from the first one, the environmental factors. Environmental factors has two main keywords. It's important. The first, when we can attract the tourists, if we have the good climate and beautiful scenery. What is a good climate? Good climate is one of the most important features of attraction for any tourist place. Pleasant climate with warmth and ample of sunshine attracts tourists who come from the temperate and colder regions. It's not news that in the Bukhara region, people always, when you ask about the temperature, when you ask about the weather, they always are like that in the summertime. Oh, I really want to go to the mountain areas because the cooler weather and the wind, we like that. Because our temperature is too hot, we always want to go to the mountain areas near the seaside for swimming. And this is here you can pay attention that affect the behavior of the consumer and also the tourism, also the international tourism. Nowadays, for example, the European countries, they have no any desert in the European continent, and when they see the some desert places on the sea, or you can find one of the beautiful desert places, or not the beautiful, the real deserts in the Arab Emirates and the countries of Arabs. And for example, many rich people always try to go to the Dubai and Qatar and different part of the desert areas because of the good climate. They think that the weather, they want more than 40 degrees, and they always want to swim, make some swimming activities near the seaside, and during the also winter time they will go that places to take a rest. And the next one is beautiful scenery. Tourism booms at picnic spots with beautiful sceneries. For example, sunrise and sunset points, long sea beaches, freshwater lakes, waterfalls, and often attract large number of the tourists. People always speak about the Switzerland, and if you ask why you want to go to the Switzerland, they always say that because of the good climate and beautiful sceneries. And also nowadays one of the big waterfall in the world, Amazonka waterfall, is one of the beautiful place in the world, and more than million people every year go or went that places to see the beautiful scenery. And it's important, we also have to use our sceneries, our nature, for attracting more tourists, because we have there also big area like deserts. We can create different type of activities like hunting, biking, or different races of the cars and different things in our areas. Also this attract the many tourists. And next factor is socio-economic factors, and four important socio-economic factors that influence the development of the tourism. The first one, accessibility. Before starting the meaning of these words, we have to understand access means is like going somewhere without any problem, or entering somewhere without any problem. And here, if you want to develop the international tourism, or if you want to summon more than million or 10 million tourists from the foreign countries, we have to understand, we have to create some accessible conditions for the tourists. The first one, for example, accessibility is the most important one. All tourist centers must be easily accessible by various modes of transportation like roads, railways, air and water. To enjoy nature's beautiful sightseeing, traveling by roads and railway is a better option. And then let's we say just 3 years ago we have not enough the train stations, or let's say we have not enough the train capacity building was so low. Nowadays the going the other regions or visiting the other regions, it takes just 5 minutes, or going to the train station, or if you want to capital to the Tashkent, before it took the 6 hours, 7 hours by taxi, or 8 hours. Now it's just 3 hours and 20 minutes. And the accessibility of the railways is important in the tourism industry. For example, we can go in the morning time and we can travel around the city of the old cities and different part of those weeks, and we can come back to home easily by that accessibilities. And like that, also the airports is important in the tourism development internationally. Nowadays people are using to, if they want to travel to the European countries, they are choosing the planes by Moscow because of the cheap prices mainly. But if we open all our international races or international ways with other companies, other European airports, it will be easier people to go to the rightly to the end of the Europe and also to the beginning, and it of course increases number of the tourists. And second one is accommodation. Place of the tourist interest must be capable enough to provide good accommodation. Of course, it depends on the situation. If the people want to go to the historical places, they are mainly always want or prefer to stay in the old houses, or the old houses, or the houses which was decorated by old style, because it gives the odor of the place, it gives the smell of the history for the tourists, and it gives more motivation and more perceived things, more perception for the tourists. And the last one is amenities. Growth of the tourism at a particular place is also influenced with crucial factors like how well the site is maintained for touring activities like skiing, roping, paddling, rowing, fishing, surfing, safari adventures. And if you want to create, if for example we have a lot of resources in the area, just because of the amenities, it's impossible sometimes to develop the or they change these tourist resources as a tourist attraction. We have many tourism resources, not the city center, also suburb places of the Bukhara city, because of the accessibility and now accommodation and now amenities for that people or tourists or travelers will face with different problems. And ancillary services, this is the last ones. If a tour destination is equipped by ancillary supplementary services like banking, finance, and the internet and telecom connectivity, hospital insurance, and so on. Nowadays tourists are different. They always follow the social media and always put their pictures on Facebook, Instagram, and other type of the social media. And this is important for the people being in the internet connectivity, the places where they visit in the hotels. Maybe they do not want any phone or any TV, but they really need the internet connectivity, because during their work time also they are nowadays are traveling and they are doing their work on the way. And this is important ones, and this is the socio-economic factors. And the next one is historical and cultural factors. The last year statistics, which was conducted by the Tourism Development Committee of Uzbekistan and also Statistics Department of the Uzbekistan, the book name, it was Tourism White Paper. It was published in 2019, Tourism White Paper 2018. Here they gathered more than 5,000 surveys with tourist special accounts from the foreign countries and also neighbor countries. And here almost 60% of the people are visiting nowadays in Uzbekistan. 60%, pay attention, for the cultural purposes. They want to see the old cities, old museums, the customs and dress, eatings and cuisine of the Uzbek cuisine. And this is important, and this is important factor for summoning the many tourists to Uzbekistan. Many tourists are attracted to places of historical significance and that which have a legacy of rich cultural heritage. People love and enjoy exploring destinations where there are famous ancient monuments, marvelous forts, castles and places of early kings and queens, etc. And examples of the places that are famous throughout the world for their historical and cultural accounts are Taj Mahal. When we spoke about the India, when we speak with friends about the India or discuss anything related to India, we always speak about the Taj Mahal, because the Taj Mahal, it's a visit card of the India. And also nowadays Uzbekistan also working create their own visit card, and in the European countries the consumers always think about the Central Asia. They say that the Central Asia located in the crossroads of the Silk Road. Of course, it's our the rich history, but as Uzbekistan, we had to create our own brand, like Registan, which is located in the Samarkand. Registan Square is the key or visit card of the Uzbekistan. And in Bukhara, on TV, on the films, on everywhere, on if you listen in the historical music and singer, you heard the word of the minaret Kalyan, because of its brand. And more than 1,000 years that minaret are staying as a word, and it's great monument for Bukhara, and we have to use it and we have to promote it. Is our visit card. And next factor is religious factors. People often make pilgrims to places of religious importance to seek inner peace, get blessings of their favorite duties, and grows attain salvation before death. Here faith, beliefs and sentiments of the people contribute in booming tourism at holy places. Examples of the places that are well known for their religious significance are Jerusalem in Israel, Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia, Varanasi and Amritsar in India. Here also the article pay attention 3 main holy places in the world, and more than 1 million people every year visit that area, and also they use their services which was produced by the local people. And Jerusalem in Israel, that place is one of the saint place in the world, and all the 3 main religions are burned in the cities, and the city is so famous. And also Mecca and Medina, the holy city for the Islamic world. For example, more than 1 million people every year goes to the Hajj and Umrah for their inner peace, and for their let's say they seek the inner peace, get blessing, and for their faiths and for their beliefs. And for that, paying attention, it's important. Also, as you know, the 2020 Bukhara is announced as the capital of the Islamic world because of their contribution, because of our ancestors had a great contribution to the Islamic world. Like our local people always travel around the 7 saints. It's important places for our local community, and also people who lives in Uzbekistan and other regions. And also nowadays we are creating new type of the programs for the people who lives in Indonesia, in Malaysia, for visiting to Uzbekistan for the worshipping and for the religious purposes. And the last one is other factors. Sometimes other factors also contribute towards growth of tourism at unexpected places. For example, New Mexico, USA attracts many tourists from around the world. Why? Because New Mexico, it's one of the business center of the United States and one of the exotic city in the world. Because of that exotic, because of decoration, people goes here more than million. Or let's we say nowadays huge famous films are just putting their places, and they're producing plays without and disturbing, without and broken without broken any place. And after the getting the film, for example, more than 5 years or 3 years, people are visiting that place to see the action areas and to see the areas, to see the zones where film is produced. And also, for example, we have some eco center which is located in the Bukhara region, Jairon Eco Center. People who are nowadays doing some research or who is interested for ecotourism, people visit that place without any doubts, because the other factor they want, they are consumers. And here you can see the some factors like not related to the other four ones. For that, maybe the next generation will add more and more of them. It's depend on, and also technology creates a lot of choice of people to change their ideas, to create a new type of ideas. For example, nowadays the countries are building more than 100 meters big towers and doing some restaurant services or creating restaurant services in the top places in the world, and people are just going here to stay with their partners. And also that's some type of the factors which are influencing to the international tourism. And also opening the seaways after the 15th century or great sea roads kind of changed the tourism type. For example, cruise tourism type, and more than 3,000 or 4,000 people in the same time in the same place could travel from one country to another. It's also big change in the world. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. This is important to learn the main 5 factors which are influencing to the international tourism. And thank you for your attention. Bye bye.